या एटम बॉम्ब के डर से कोई हमारे देश को झुकाना चाहे, दबाना चाहे, ये देश हमारा दबने वाला नहीं। तो एक सरकार के नाते हमारा क्या जवाब हो सकता है सिवाय इसके कि हम हथियारों का जवाब हथियारों से दें।
जो पश्चिमी पाकिस्तान की लड़ाई थी, वो लड़ाई भारत पर भी आ गई है। मुझे संदेह नहीं है कि सारी भारत की जनता, सब राजनीतिक दल और सब नागरिक इस समय एक हैं। सबका संकल्प है कि इस हमले का निर्णयात्मक ढंग से समाप्त कर दिया जाए।
हम शांति चाहते हैं, ये तो दुनिया ने देखा। अब दुनिया ये देखेगी कि हम शांति की रक्षा के लिए और अपनी शक्ति का भी प्रदर्शन कर सकते हैं।
ये हमला सिर्फ निहत्थे पर्यटकों पर नहीं हुआ है, देश के दुश्मनों ने भारत की आत्मा पर हमला करने का दुस्साहस किया है। मैं बहुत स्पष्ट शब्दों में कहना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने ये हमला किया है, उन आतंकियों को और इस हमले की साजिश रचने वालों को उनकी कल्पना से भी बड़ी सजा मिलेगी, सजा मिलकर के रहेगी।
The legacy of Indian Prime Ministers is often judged by the way they respond to conflicts, especially those involving Pakistan. Of late, there has been a debate that between Narendra Modi and Indira Gandhi, who had given a more precise and long-lasting response to the conflicts that they were linked to regarding Pakistan. We all know of late Operation Sindoor was conducted by the Indian government with the leadership of Shri Narendra Modi, and that operation is now being compared to the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. However, both these two events are based on two different contexts and are based in two different eras, to be honest. However, for the sake of the overall viewpoint of these two conflicts, I would in this video try to provide a differential understanding of both these conflicts, their context, and what were the positives and the negatives which came out for India. So I'll start off with the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. So India was facing a humanitarian crisis due to the ongoing ethnic genocide that was going on in erstwhile East Pakistan at the behest of the Pakistan armed forces. Millions of refugees were pouring into India in the eastern states of Assam, Tripura, and West Bengal. So Indira Gandhi had no other option than to intervene to actually stop this influx of immigrants. And so on 3rd of December 1971, she had to wage a war against Pakistan, and finally Bangladesh was liberated. India emerged as a global leader in terms of actually providing support in terms of humanitarian crisis. Now, coming to the context of Operation Sindoor, as we all know, on the fateful day of 22nd of April 2025, a heinous terror attack took place in Pahalgaon, where 26 tourists were killed based on their religious identity. And as a response to this cowardly attack on Indians, Narendra Modi led the Operation Sindhu, and it was actually precisely and accurately delivered by the Indian armed forces. 9 terrorist sites were selected, and precise, controlled, and restrained attacks were carried out, and these terror hideouts were destroyed. After that, there was a 4 day serious conflict that took place between India and Pakistan, finally leading up to a ceasefire. So, these were the context of these two events. Now, if we are to analyze that what were the positives and the negatives of these two events, I'll start off with the Bangladesh Liberation War. As a positive for India, India emerged, as I said, as a global leader of the of South Asia, and a new country was formed in the name of Bangladesh. Also, with regard to Pakistan, that this was India's largest victory, where 93,000 Pakistani troops surrendered, and this was the largest surrender by any army of the world after World War II. However, this 1971 war also had some, I would say, uh, negative aspects as far as India was concerned. Many experts claim that Indira Gandhi actually missed a great chance of annexing the POK in lieu of these 93,000 prisoners of war. There is another record which suggests that there were 54 Indian soldiers who were taken prisoners of war in Pakistan, and they were never returned back to their family, and there was no trace, and India was not able to actually take them back. On the other hand, if you see Operation Sindhu, it acts like a very strong deterrent to any future terror activities that would be ever even thought of to be carried out in India. India made it clear that if its integrity and sovereignty was challenged, India would take punitive, disproportionate, and corrective measures. Also, after the end of the conflict, Narendra Modi had clearly stated that any act of terror is equivalent to an act of war against India. So, this really put forward India's high levels of deterrence in terms of uh, reacting to terrorism, and that has been on the high since 2016. It also actually marked a paradigm shift in India's overall security landscape. However, there were controversies with the ceasefire that ensued on the 10th of May. So, even before the Indian and the Pakistani authorities came forward and talked about the ceasefire, Donald Trump tweeted before that and claimed to take responsibility of actually being instrumental in having this ceasefire being implemented. However, the Indian Ministry of External Affairs strongly rejected that, saying that the Pakistan DGMO had called them at 3:35 p.m. on 10th of May 2025, and then there was a temporary stoppage of the ongoing military conflict.
Director
So,
General of Military Operations of Pakistan called the Director General of Military Operations of India at 15:35 hours earlier this afternoon. It was agreed between them that both sides would stop all firing and military action on land and in the air and sea with effect from 1700 hours Indian Standard Time
conflict.
today.
So, to be honest, I think there cannot be a clear one on one comparison of these two events. Also, we have to keep one thing in mind, that in 1971 there was no nuclear deterrence for either India or Pakistan. So India went on a full scale conventional war. Also, in the 1970s, the Cold War was at its peak. And as Pakistan was getting the full support of the United States, India also had a strong ally in the form of Russia. However, in this 4 day conflict which ensued after the Operation Sindhu, India actually found itself militarily a bit siloed, because Russia itself was in embroiled in a conflict with Ukraine, and I would say USA played a very diplomatic role. On the other hand, it's pretty evident Pakistan got the uh, advantage of having allies such as China and Turkey. So I would say both of these two conflicts, in their own regards, are unique and have their own like historical viewpoint. But I will still ask my subscribers to let me know in the comment section whom they think was more instrumental in responding to this conflict. That was all from me in today's video. Please do like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thank you.